So today, we've got a story for you about two completely different realities, two powerful forces unfolding at the exact same time. It's a story about a quiet, determined walk for peace set against the loud, deafening drums of war. So picture this. On one side, you have a group of monks walking clear across a continent, all in the name of peace. And then on the other side, at the very moment their journey is coming to an end, a major military conflict kicks off. It's this stark, powerful contrast that really makes you ask some big questions about the world we live in. So, what we're going to do in this explainer is walk down both of these parallel paths. We'll look at the incredible journey for peace, the conflict that erupted right alongside it, and what this whole situation tells us about two very different kinds of power. All right, let's start with that first path then. This is the story of an incredible journey, undertaken by a group of Theravada Buddhist monks. A journey they simply called the Walk for Peace. It all began with this number, 108 days. Just let that sink in for a second. That's over 3 months of continuous walking, every single day, all dedicated to one single purpose. And over those 108 days, they covered an almost unbelievable distance, 3,700 kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's kind of like walking from New York City all the way to Las Vegas. It's just a staggering physical feat, fueled entirely by spiritual conviction. And who pulled this off? Not some massive army, but a small international group. We're talking just 18 to 20 monks from places like the United States, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam, all united in this one peaceful mission. So their path kicked off in October of 2025, down in Fort Worth, Texas. They walked right through a harsh winter, crossing the southern states, before finally arriving in Washington, D.C., and finishing their journey in Annapolis, Maryland in February 2026. So you might be wondering, what was really driving them? Well, it all comes down to this one crucial idea, ahimsa. It's a Sanskrit term that means the principle of nonviolence and a deep respect for all living things. See, this wasn't just a march. It was a spiritual practice in motion, a living, breathing embodiment of peace. And, their journey on the road was this incredible mix of hardship and hope. They were dealing with brutal winter weather, physical injuries. Some of them even walked barefoot just to feel that direct connection to the earth. But along the way, they were supported by local communities. They were even offered shelter in Christian churches, which is just this beautiful example of interfaith solidarity. But the walk also had this unexpected member, a four-legged companion who, believe it or not, became a bit of a social media star and a real symbol for the whole walk. Meet Aloka. And her name? It means light of wisdom in Sanskrit. I mean, how perfect is that? She was a stray dog rescued from India, who walked the entire 3,700 kilometers right alongside the monks. She became this living, breathing symbol of the journey's spirit of compassion. Okay, so just as this quiet, hopeful journey of peace is reaching its destination, the world starts to hear a very, very different sound. The steady, quiet rhythm of their steps was about to be drowned out by something much, much louder. Yeah, in the exact same month, late February 2026. As these monks are arriving in Maryland with their message of nonviolence, the United States initiated military operations against Iran. Two events happening in the same country at the same time, representing two completely opposite human impulses. I mean, the contrast could not be more stark. And this, right here, gets us to the absolute heart of this whole story, a fundamental clash between two completely different ways of trying to influence the world. So you have to ask, right? In the face of military action, what impact can a peaceful demonstration like this truly have? Is it just a symbolic gesture, or is it something more? So let's break this down. On one hand, you've got soft power. That's what the monks were using. It's the power of attraction and persuasion, using things like moral authority and spiritual values to try and change hearts and minds. And then on the other hand, you've got hard power. That's the military conflict. That's using coercive force, like the military or economic sanctions, to compel a specific action. They're just two fundamentally different approaches to influence. International relations scholars point to this exact thing. They call it a paradox. You have the moral power of something like religion, which aims to change consciousness over time. And then you have the hard power of a state, which is driven by immediate security concerns. They don't just have different goals. It's like they exist in completely different realities. And yet here they are, colliding in the same moment. So, where does that leave us? You might be thinking, well, the walk didn't stop the war, so did it fail? And the answer is not at all. Its success is just measured a little differently. Let's look at its real and maybe more lasting legacy. See, the true impact wasn't about directly stopping tanks. It was about demonstrating another way to be. It's a perfect example of what scholars call socially engaged Buddhism, taking spiritual principles out into the real world. It's a testament that when you're faced with suffering, the response doesn't have to be more anger. It can be mindfulness. Its real achievement was to carve out a moral space, a quiet place for an alternative idea to exist, even when the world is shouting. And that leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Hard power, like a war, is a loud, violent shout that demands all the attention right now. But soft power, the power of an idea embodied by a silent, determined walk for peace, well, that's a whisper. And the real question isn't whether the whisper can stop the shout, but whether, in the long run, its echo might just last a whole lot longer.